Different age groups of women are dated differently and managed differently in relationships. And if you don't understand the differences between these different age groups, you're going to have a lot of problems in your woman life. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to calibrate your dating and your relationship management for the age of the women in your life.
Alpha Male 2.0. Freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. We do 5 videos a week here on how to make both your business life and woman life more free, because you need both. If you subscribe to this channel, leave a like on this video, and leave a comment on this video, you will automatically be entered into the regular drawing for my online video course on how to create location-independent income, normally $1,400. We regularly announce the winners at the community feed at this channel.
So this is another one of those videos where I go back through my old blog articles and I pull out the absolute best, most important, most impactful, most trafficked on Google, most commented, and most complimented blog articles I've written in the past. And here I'm going to give you a video version of them, and I'm also going to update them because some of these articles are a little old and need to be updated. And this particular blog article is one of the biggest and most important blog articles I have ever written in my life. And today I'm going to go through it. I have it right above the camera here. I'm going to go through it, and just like with the last video I did, by the way, the last time I did a video on this, it was very popular. That was the one on women being comfortable being uncomfortable. This is the age ranges of women and how they are different and how you manage each one. And it is very important to understand that when you have a first or second date with a woman who is 19, that should be managed differently than a woman who is 39 or 47. Not all ages of women are the same. There are radical differences. Sometimes there are good differences, and sometimes there are bad differences. And I've said before, there are pros and cons to younger women, and there are pros and cons to older women. It is false to say that one group is great and the other group is terrible. No, there's pros and cons to both. Take it from a guy like me. I've been with many women in my past, sexually and in long-term relationships of all ages, starting from age 18 all the way to the mid-50s in one case. So I am an expert on this. I can give you the details. So I'm going to go down and read off this article directly from the blog, and I'm going to pause and give you the updates on this stuff. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with the first age range. So we'll go from youngest to oldest. And the first age range is age 18 to 23. And that is the range I call slutty Disney. Slutty Disney, what does that mean? Well, that means that's the age at which ASD is lowest, but Disney desires are also very high. It's kind of a strange age. So let me read from the article. Women in this age are wild, free, happy, dramatic, and irresponsible. By the way, that is accurate. All those adjectives are accurate. Wild, free, happy, dramatic, and irresponsible. One of the challenges with dating younger women is that they are extremely irresponsible in terms of time management. They will cancel dates. They'll forget meets. They'll forget everything. They have lots of chaos and problems in their lives, but their ASD is much lower. ASD, if you didn't know, is anti-slut defense. That is that thing women have internally where even if they want to have sex with you, they say, oh, no, I shouldn't because I don't want to be a slut. And ASD is the lowest when women are at this age. Moving on. ASD is at an all-time low at this age. And it's not uncommon to see women this young have sex with 5, 10, or even more guys in a 6-month period. Yes, and I have dated several women at this age range who went through that process. Something I didn't put in the article is that a lot of women go through a slutty phase. A lot of younger women under the age of 23. What they do is they wake up one morning and they say, I'm horny and I'm going to have fun. And they go bang a bunch of dudes. Over a period of 6 months, they have sex with a whole bunch of guys. And then they go, oh my God, I'm a slut. I shouldn't have done that. And they back way off and they never do that again. But they have this phase they almost have to get through. And if you talk to a lot of women in their 30s or 40s or late 20s, and you mention this, a lot of them, not all of them, there are exceptions, but a lot of them will say, yeah, that's exactly what I did back when I was 18 or 16 or 22. So a lot of women go through this phase. It's a normal phase in the modern era. It's the way it goes. Continuing on, it's not a problem for them and there is nothing abnormal about it. Correct, until after they get out of the slutty phase. But even so, I mean, if you want to have sex with her friend and she's 22 and it's a non-monogamous relationship, she's perfectly cool with it. Will she be perfectly cool with it when she's 37? No, she will not, because ASD is very low. Moving on. They constantly get into, quote, monogamous relationships and promptly cheat. I have said many times that women under the age of 23 are functionally incapable of sexual monogamy. Now, yes, I know there are exceptions. Every time I say that, I get some girl who hits me up on my Facebook page or social media and says, well, I'm 22 and I've never cheated. There are exceptions to every rule, yes. But other than the exceptions to every rule, the exception proves the rule. Women who get into relationships when they're under the age of 23 are going to cheat. And I say in the article, to be fair, if the guy is also this young, he's probably cheating too. Correct. So the takeaway from that is when you date a woman in a serious relationship and she's under the age of 23, even if it's monogamous, even if you think Alpha Male 2.0 is stupid, but you want to date younger women and you have a girlfriend who's 22, you're a moron. She's going to cheat on you. Get ready to be cheated on. Women this young don't do monogamy, even though they say they do. Moving on to the article. Despite all this sexuality, a woman's Disney fantasies are extreme levels at this age. And all she can think about is falling in romantic love, getting married or the equivalent with her Prince Charming, and having babies. Now, let me update that a little bit. That was true when I wrote that. Women under the age from 18 to 23 are not only very horny and have low ASD, but also have strong Disney desires. This has now changed since I wrote that. Society has moved in a certain direction. As I've talked about many times, the entire Western world moves to the cultural and political left every year, even if you vote for people like Donald Trump. So today now, you have a lot of women between 18 and 23 who don't want to get traditionally monogamously married and don't want any kids. Now, what hasn't changed is their desire to move in with a guy and get a husband, quote unquote. So they will still want to move in with a guy as soon as they fall in love. A lot of women this age do that. But then they will say, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have a wedding. I don't want to get a legal marriage. What's the point? Or I don't want to have kids. Why would I ever want to have kids? A lot of women, it's kind of a cool thing right now for the current generation of Gen Z women who are like 18, 19, 20 to say, kids are stupid. Why would I ever want to have kids? Now, these women are lying. If you wait 10, 15 years and come back and check in on them, they'll have a kid or two. Biology trumps all this shit as usual. But that's the one update to this article in that last sentence. Okay. Not surprisingly, at this age, women make the most irresponsible decisions. Having a baby with the wrong guy, marrying the wrong guy, moving in with the wrong guy, that's a big one. All of that is very common at this age. They are constantly leaping in and out of relationships all the time. Women's biological default is what? Is it monogamy? No, it's serial monogamy. I'm going to be monogamous, quote unquote, to this guy, dump this guy, then be monogamous with this guy. Then I'll be monogamous with him for a while, then I'll dump him, then be monogamous with this guy. So yes, a lot of women this age are serial monogamous if they date at all. Just watch how often they change their Facebook relationship statuses. It's ridiculous and they love it. Less true now today than when I wrote those words several years ago because that's not a very big thing. Facebook is not a big thing for women between 18 and 23. But back then, yes, I knew women and had women who were FBs and MLTRs who would literally get a new boyfriend every 6 to 8 months. So they would always be in a relationship, but if you check back every 6 months, it'd be a different guy. And that was normal. And that's normal for a lot of women that age. Women this age are extremely drama prone, but, and this is a big but, in the face of a strong, confident man, they will happily divert their drama to other places besides him. That is correct. This diversion is usually impossible with older women who feel they have a right to throw drama at their man if they're in a bad mood. That is correct. So that is a key difference that a lot of men don't understand between younger women and older women. It's not that younger women have more drama or older women have more drama. The difference is you can divert the drama from younger women and or train, for lack of a better word, younger women to not give you the drama. Whereas if it's an older woman, she's not going to buy into that shit. If she's mad at you, she's going to give you drama because that's what she wants. Whereas younger women, they can be more easily calibrated. That doesn't mean you don't have drama from younger women, though. You will still have drama. Matter of fact, younger women tend to have more drama in their lives than older women. The difference is that younger women are more apt to throw drama at other places in their lives besides you. Women this age use alcohol and drugs an insane amount, far more than any other age group, regardless of if they're over 21 or not. Absolutely true, and that has not changed. Absolutely true. Yet another testament to society's insistence on maintaining laws that don't work. Of course. At this age, a woman is all about fun. The god of having fun trumps everything else in her life until she creeps into age 24 or so. If it's not fun, she's not interested. That is a good point for you guys who are dating women in this age range. When you're talking to women online, you want to play up the fun factor, particularly you older guys going after much younger women under the age of 23. Play up the fun aspect. That's what women are all about between age 18 and 23. It's all about fun. Now we're going to move into the next age range. This is age range between age 24 and age 26. And this I call Miss Independent. I was using that song, Miss Independent, you know I love her. But anyway, on with the article. At this age, 24 to 26, women back off on the promiscuity a little. I said a little. Instead of having sex with 5 or 10 guys, she'll tone it down to 2 guys. And she'll happily rotate new guys in and out all the time. That is exactly accurate for women in their mid-20s. Exactly what I just said. That's exactly how this works. I'm amazed at the number of women I have known in this age group who are having sex with exactly 2 guys at almost all times. Now, that could mean she's playing the field. That could mean she's cheating on a boyfriend. More likely. Doesn't matter what the context is. Yes. It's a magic number for them, just enough to have some fun and get laid, but not enough to violate any of their slowly building ASD. Right, so as a woman ages, her ASD slowly rises. So women between 24 and 26 have a little more ASD than women in their early 20s or late teens. Women at this age still drink and party a lot, but they won't drink to the point where they're puking all the time. They still love drugs and alcohol, but they've learned more about their own bodies and moderated things a little. That is true. Now, by the way, I should mention, there are exceptions to every rule. So I'm generalizing here, but generalizing means it's generally true when you have all the empirical and anecdotal data that I have, not just from my life, but from many of you who have dated women of various ages. So I am sure you're going to hear from women or guys who say, I know a girl who's 25 and she doesn't do any drugs. Or I know a girl who's 26 and she gets drunk every night. Yes, the exception proves the rule. Generally speaking, this is how it is. But yes, there are going to be exceptions to all these generalizations I'm about to make. Just keep that in mind. Moving on to the article. The defining attribute of women in this age range is how they tend to avoid boyfriends. They do not want to be tied down to some needy boyfriend, even and especially the ones who follow their orders and kiss their ass. This is less true now than when I wrote this way back, I think back in 2012-ish or so. 2013, I'm not sure when I wrote this. Actually, let's check to see when I wrote this first. 2011. Yeah, so that is a little less true now. I have noticed that women between 24 and 26 are more likely to get a boyfriend than they were 10 years ago, but they don't have this attitude of immediately glomming onto a boyfriend that they used to have when they were 18 to 23. So in general, it's still true, but it's not quite as true as when I first noted this about 10 years ago. Continuing on, they've learned that from their 18 to 23 years that boyfriends are trouble. Boyfriends lie, cheat, get needy, get jealous, are a lot of work, leave you, and hurt your feelings. So fuck that. They still love men, fun, and sex. So she's still going to play the field, enjoy herself, and be independent. It is women in the 24 to 26 age group who will literally lecture you after having sex about how they don't want anything serious and how they are not your girlfriend. True. Which, of course, is the absolute and complete opposite of most women in their 30s, which we'll talk about in a minute. That is accurate. I've had several women give me this little lecture after we have sex once or twice. They said, "Now look, this doesn't mean anything, and you're cool to hang out with, but we're not going to fall in love. You're not my boyfriend." Great. And they don't realize who they're talking to. Great. Which again is the opposite of women in their 30s, which we'll cover in a second. Okay, the next age range is women age 27 to age 29. And I call this category, oh my God, I'm still single. So here it is. Women in this age group are identical to the 24 to 26 crowd, except now that the biological clock has now started ticking. They love fun and being independent, especially now that for the first time in their lives, they're making money on their own. Pause there really quick. This wasn't true when I wrote the article, but it's true now. Women in their 20s make more money than men in their 20s. So really, in their late 20s, 27 to 29 is when they're making real, quote unquote, real money. And that gives them a sense of confidence and independence and power that women historically really didn't have at that age. Moving on. But they are now getting concerned that A, they have not found their soulmate yet, and B, they don't have any babies yet. Assuming they don't have any yet, and many of them do. Right. It's true. So it's not like she is a heat-seeking semen missile like some women are in their late 30s. It's not to that degree, but she starts feeling this biological, or you may argue sociological need to get married and or to have kids. That's when it starts kicking in around 27, 28 years old. Moving on. A childless woman who hits age 28 will suddenly want to have babies badly, even if she doesn't know why. It's the most amazing thing, and I've seen it happen many times. Yes, I have seen this happen many times with multiple women. They're fine. They have no kids. They don't even think about kids. Then they hit age 28 and suddenly they're like, I want a baby. They start looking at babies. They start thinking about babies. That doesn't mean they run out and get pregnant. I'm just saying that need kicks in at about age 28. Continuing on, really watch the birth control if you're playing with a 28 or 29-year-old who hasn't had any kids yet. Yes, you dumbasses. Too many of you guys are still having sex with random chicks without wearing condoms. You're morons. Continuing on. Thus, these women will cast off their no boyfriends rule and start carefully looking for a boyfriend / husband / provider. But they won't leap into anything, and they'll still have fun and get laid until one comes along. So they have the need, but it's not an urgent need yet. No more than 1 or 2 guys at a time, of course. Correct, because their ASD is rising. Women this age tend to have the most sexual hang-ups / issues and are the hardest to make come by far. If you want to make them orgasm, and you always should, that's another topic, do some tongue exercises, stretch those fingers, and be prepared to put in the time. I would add to that, get a good vibrator. Solves a lot of problems. I wasn't using vibrators back then, but there you go. But yes, I found that to be the case often too. Next age category, age 30 to 32. I call this ASD blossom. Her ASD is blossoming. At this age, the ASD in her brain is now almost at full bore. Now getting a boyfriend / husband / provider is an important mission in her life. It is at this age that women are the most picky about the men they date, since this is when high ASD meets with the fact that she's still young enough to be somewhat pretty and in demand. Now, let me update that a little bit. That's not quite as true today as it was 10 years ago. Women today who are 30 still look really, really, really damn hot. A lot of women today who are 30, 31, let's see, this is 30 to 32. You really can't tell that they're in their 30s. They look like they're in their 20s. And because of that, a lot of women in this category, age 30 to 32, are still acting like women in their 20s. So what I just said is not necessarily accurate for this age range today, not nearly as much as it was about 10 years ago. Thanks to now blossoming ASD for the first time in her life, she will actually go without sex if she doesn't meet any men who are up to her provider hunting standards. Uh-oh, this does not bode well. I will make a correction and an update. That's not true anymore. That is not true with women between the ages of 30 and 32. That is true with women when they hit 33. That's when that is definitely true. Let's roll into that right now. Our favorite age, age 33, which I have talked about a lot in my books, in my articles, in my videos. Age 33 is when it all changes for a woman. That's a magical line they cross when they hit 33, and all of a sudden their entire attitude about dating and men and sex and everything radically changes. Okay, age 33 to 38. And the name of this category is I'm a lady now. Get ready. This is a fun one. At this age, a woman has gone through all kinds of failed relationships, divorces, legal battles, cheating boyfriends, horrible first dates, and asshole male bosses. Men are no longer fun. Rather, men have become the enemy, or at least a necessary evil. She likely has a job she hates, bills she can barely pay, and possibly kids that stress her out. On top of all that, when she looks in the mirror, she sees all kinds of wrinkles, cellulite, and saggy boobs, and that just pisses her off even more. Modern day single women in their 30s are big, walking balls of stress. Correct. The worst decade of a woman's life in the modern era is her 30s. It is the worst decade of a woman's life. By far, it is the most stressed out she'll ever be, the most stressed out, pissed off. Angry women are those in their 30s. Women in their 20s are having a great time. Women in their 40s are kind of settled. Women in their 30s, not a happy group. Just the way this goes. Things like enjoying herself, being happy, achieving goals, that's all gone. Those are all silly things she liked when she was younger. She has responsibilities now. You can't go around having sex and enjoying yourself when you have kids and bills to pay. She's, quote, had her fun. And now it's time to buckle down and slog through the pain and drama that is life. Yes, you'll see this with online dating profiles with women in their 30s. Look, I've had my fun. I'm done having sex and having fun. I need a goddamn boyfriend right now. I need a goddamn husband right now. I'm done having fun. What a horrible place to be in life if you're done having fun. I'm almost 50. I'm not done having fun. Anyway, this is women in their 30s, guys. That's how this works. All right. She's a lady now. She doesn't do that anymore. I've talked about this in great detail in my books and my articles. How women in their 30s will say, well, yes, I used to fuck guys in the first and second date, but that's when I was 23. I'm a lady. Excuse me, I'm 36. I'm a lady. I don't do that. ASD is a wonderful thing. No, it's not. Okay, moving on. If you're on a date and actually trying to have sex with her, boy, are you in for a treat. She'll immediately whip out a 300-page book called Dating Rules and Regulations. Let's see, we're on our second date, so we can't have sex yet, but you can touch one of my boobs. That would be okay. If we make it to the third date, I might let you take my shirt off. Maybe. We'll see how well you do on our next date first. Yes, this is the kind of shit you're going to get with women on first and second and third dates when they're in their 30s, over the age of 33. Get ready. Now again, yes, there are exceptions to every rule. I'm sure one of you can come up with a girl you had sex with in the past who was 37 and hooked up with you on the first date. Yes, the exception proves the rule. Years ago, I was on a pickup artist forum. I don't remember if it was the one I owned or not, but I was on a pickup artist forum and I was talking about this very concept, and a guy piped up and said, that's not true. This is all bullshit. There's no more ASD for a woman in her 30s. I've had sex with 2 women in their 30s on the first date. And I said, yes, out of how many women you've had sex with? He said 57. The exception proves the rule. So you're saying the other 55 women were under the age of 30, right? So yes, there are exceptions. The exception proves the rule. Thank you very much. Moving on. If she's actually powerful enough to overcome the rivers of ASD flowing in her system, you're going to have to commit to be her full-on, monogamous, loving, ass-kissing boyfriend. Or no sex. Oh no, she's a lady now, and ladies don't have sex outside of deep, meaningful, committed relationships. Correct. The exception to this rule is if you're an ex-lover of hers or a reasonably good-looking and younger-looking guy who effectively presents himself as sexual but having absolutely zero provider potential, something very difficult for most men to do, even those with solid game. Now, what I meant is men their age. So I've talked about cougar game. So if you're a younger guy, you can definitely go after older women over 33, and you won't run into a lot of these problems. These problems apply to men in their 30s or 40s. So if you're a man in his 30s or 40s, you get thrown into this category with women because you have provider potential. But if a woman is 37 years old and you're 22 and you dress like shit, but you're a nice guy and you're decent looking and you have good cougar game, you can get laid pretty quick. Yes. So this mostly applies to men of the same age range as these women. Continuing on, that way she can fuck him and rationalize it as, well, we aren't actually dating, so it's okay. As you can see, her mature age has increased her ASD, but has done nothing to reduce her chick logic. Yes. Okay, now let's move on to the next age range. This is age 39 to 49, and I titled this age range Delusional Empress. Get ready. Essentially, this is just like a woman in her 30s, but times 2. Single women in their 40s, especially ones who are not yet overweight and have retained some level of good looks, have reached a point where they think they are the most beautiful, intelligent, desirable, strong females in the universe. She's a catch, and you'd better treat her that way. All other women are, quote, silly and, quote, immature. Again, this is women in their 40s who are still decent looking. If a woman in her 40s has let herself go, if she's clearly overweight now, if she doesn't look that great, that's not necessarily true. I'm talking about women in their 40s who still look pretty damn good. That is accurate. Usually men wanting to have sex with a 40-something are expected to treat them like queens well beforehand. Gold digger behaviors and expectations are at their height at this age range. Yes, the most gold diggers that I have encountered were women in their 40s. You would expect gold diggers to be like these sugar baby girls, like in their 20s and 24, 25. I mean, there's certainly those too, but the most that I've experienced, at least prior to sugar daddy game becoming a norm in society, are women in their 40s. Good-looking women in their 40s. Yeah. Men who don't treat them like goddesses are somewhere between not gentlemen and pigs. Yeah. Men who reject them are shallow or, quote, clearly have issues. and should have, quote, taken the time to understand how amazing she is. Back in the pickup artist days, we used to call this MPS, magical pussy syndrome. This concept where women think they have a magical pussy that is different than any other woman's, which is biologically and factually incorrect. All while buying her dinners and not having any sex, of course. Yeah. The painful irony of all this is that women this age are really, really horny. Yes. I'm serious. Bitches be crazy. The problem is that because of their massive amounts of societal programming, ASD, and raw arrogance, the only way they can have sex is from a man who attracts them and does whatever he's told and commits right up front, outside of the zero provider potential fuck buddy loophole, which is still in effect. So if she starts to like a guy, but he doesn't behave exactly as she expects him to behave, i.e. worship her, she gets very upset. Oh Lord, do they get pissed. You need to behave yourself so she can get laid, damn it. Yes, I've had women in their 40s, and many of you have too, where you're seeing them as FBs or MLTRs, what have you, and they're monster horny. They're like, can you come over to my house right now? You need to come over right now and fuck me. And if you can't, if you're busy, like with another woman, or you're busy with work or what have you, they get mad. They get mad at you. The only women I've had get angry at me because I couldn't go over and have sex with them were women in their 40s. The problem is, as I said, they have this high degree of horniness plus this high degree of ASD, which is not a really fun mix, unfortunately. I feel sorry for women in their 40s. By the way, to be clear, I am super attracted to women in their 40s, women in their 30s, women in their 20s. I'm not one of these weirdos. I've done articles about this before and videos about this before who says as soon as a woman hits 30, she's not attractive anymore or suddenly less attractive. No, women in their 40s are super hot as long as they don't get overweight. Yes, and reasonably take care of themselves, which, by the way, more and more women today are doing. So this is not a reflection here on how I feel personally about women in their 40s. I think women in their 40s are amazingly hot. My wife is in her 40s. I've had sex with many women in their 40s who are smoking hot, and I enjoyed all of them. So just be aware of this. Okay. The slight good news is if for some reason you manage to lay one of these women, she will crave your cock like you've never seen. You'll get texts every single day yelling at you to get your ass over to her place so she can cram your cock inside her again. I am not exaggerating. Correct. That is not an exaggeration. Yes, there are exceptions. Are all women in their 40s like this? No. By the way, I'm not talking about married women in their 40s. We're talking about women here in the dating pool. So married women in their 40s don't necessarily apply to this. I'm talking about single women or women who are unmarried and don't have live-in boyfriends. All right, final category, age 50 plus. I call this realization. By age 50, and usually well before then, women finally lose their ability to use their looks to get whatever they want from men. Now, update, that has radically changed. You now have women in their early 50s who look fucking hot. And I don't mean hot for 50. I mean just hot. We've discussed this before. And as time goes on, that age is going to keep dropping. Or excuse me, I should say rising. So soon in our society, in the next few decades, you're going to have women in their 60s. Women who are 60 who actually look hot. It's going to happen. Not there yet. We're not there yet. But there are plenty of women out there who look damn good. So that is changing. So maybe I should raise this age a little bit. Anyway, moving on. Women this age finally realize that there is no knight in shining armor who is, quote, out there somewhere for her. They finally realize, since they can't flip their hair and stick out their chests to get what they want from men anymore, that men are either super boring, beta males, or completely incapable of adhering to her Disney fantasy life plan, alpha males. She finally understands that there is no third category of perfect guy. I wrote a big article years ago, maybe I'll do a video version of that, called The Myth of the Submissive Alpha Male, which is the submissive fantasy unicorn man that women have in their minds of the strong, badass, masculine, kick-ass alpha male who takes charge and doesn't take any shit, who takes out the trash and does exactly what he's told and hands over his money and does exactly what she says to do. No such thing. That's called the submissive alpha male. No such thing as a submissive alpha male. Anyway, most women this age are already married to either low-end beta providers who bore the shit out of them, but whom they can't divorce. She's too old to snag a new man, so now she's stuck with whatever she has. Very true with women over 55, certainly over 50. Very true. Or a cheating alpha whom she can't stand, but reluctantly tolerates and still can't divorce. Also true with a lot of women in their 50s. I've seen a lot of women in their 50s who are married to alpha males, who are cheating left and right, and the women know that their marketplace value in terms of the sexual marketplace is not high enough where they can snag another dude, so they just kind of put up with it. 50s, 60s, yes. And in both cases, she accepts this is how men are. Yes, finally. It takes women 50 years, but they finally figure it out. The single ones grab pretty much whomever they can, marry him, and ride out the rest of their lives with drastically reduced expectations from their husbands and men in general. This acceptance of reality and lack of sexual power is why women over 50 tend to have lower divorce rates. Right. However, and I've mentioned this before in articles, the number one growth age range of divorce spiking are people in their 50s. The divorce rate for people in their 50s has quadrupled since the year 2000. Why is that? Because as I said, more women in their 50s are starting to look pretty damn good. So unlike 30, 40 years ago, when a woman was in her 50s, she looked like an old lady, and an old lady isn't going to go out there and marry some great new guy, so they stick with their husbands. Now you've got women in their 50s who look pretty damn good. And they know this, and they know, well, I can divorce this guy and go get another guy, and they do. So that's certainly changed. For some women, this is a great weight off their shoulders, and many women have sort of a reawakening in their early 50s and finally achieve the peace and happiness they've always thought they've wanted. That's true. I've met a lot of women in their 50s who are really chill, relaxed, kind of happy. I would venture to guess, this is my guess, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm reasonably sure of this. The happiest decade for the modern women today in modern society is her 50s. In her 20s, it's really fun, but it's kind of chaotic and crazy, but it's fun, it's happy. 30s is a nightmare for women. 40s is tough for women, not a nightmare, but it's tough. 50s, women kind of relax and they kind of enjoy themselves. So I think most women in their 50s have a little less bad time than women in other age ranges. So if I had to pick a decade where women were happiest, probably 50s. I don't think it'd be 60s or 70s. I don't think that's true, but definitely 50s. So wrapping up the article, calibrating based on age. Your lays will increase and become easier if you calibrate your approach to each woman you meet based on her age range. Correct. Is she 19? Play up the fun aspect. Is she 26? Make it clear you're not needy and aren't looking for a girlfriend. Is she 35? Hit the gym, get buff, dress in very inexpensive clothing, throw a strong sexual frame at her, and ask her to pay for the date since you, quote, don't have any money. Or dress really, really nice, talk about your last promotion at the office, and kiss her ass all over the place and be prepared to commit. Those are the two categories for women in their 30s. You get the point. The bottom line is to never assume that all women of all ages are seduced the same way. There are significant differences. Many times I've talked about how I will no longer cold approach new women over the age of 33, online or any other way. That is no longer true. Since then, I've changed that. There are exceptions to that rule. But the standard model I've taught for many years is if your objective is to get to sex as quickly as possible, and that's your primary objective, you really want to draw a line at age 33 and date women under that as best you can. I understand that older guys may not want to do that, and that's fine, but that's just kind of a universal maxim. Based on these descriptions, you can see why. Closing on these women is doable, but requires a completely different mindset. So that's pretty much it for that article. This is important you understand these age ranges and these age differences. There's kind of a school of thought among some guys where all women are the same. Women are women and all women want the same thing. No, women of different age ranges behave differently. Women of different cultures behave differently when it comes to their sexual lives, dating lives, relationship lives, marital lives. So be aware of this. This is an important topic to get wired into your head. It also can help you figure out where you guys are looking for like OLTR or something serious, what age ranges you want those women to be. So what I've done, for example, is I have an OLTR wife. I went out on my way to marry someone who was in her mid-30s. Today she's 41. That's exactly what I wanted. And I have young FBs on the side. Today, what I'm now looking at doing is going a little higher than the young FBs, going for women who are maybe 30 because I want more stability in my life. I want easier time management. So I'm going to try that and see how that goes. But again, I'm using these age models to make these decisions. So now that you have a framework for this, you can make the same decisions and work better for your life. If you want more help with managing your relationship life and certainly your dating life, you can go to joinsmic.com. That is my audio training and mentorship program. Otherwise, you can click this video here on how you qualify women for certain types of relationships, or you can click this video here on the importance of dating and relationship skills. I will see you in the next video. Bye.